Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Archana, homeschool mom of two boys aged 8 and 3. So as you would have already gathered, today's video is about what you can do when your child directs hateful or hurtful comments towards you. A little backstory. Now, over the holidays, I visited a friend of mine. My friend has a 4-year-old daughter who is a very intelligent, perceptive kid. Now, my friend is also a completely engaged and attached mom who gave up her high-paying job just to stay home and take care of her daughter. Now, off late, her daughter had started directing these kinds of comments towards her. Mom, I don't want you to put me to bed. I don't want you to bathe me. I want dad instead. It was obvious she had been ousted from the preferred parent role. But sometimes the comments got even more caustic, like, Mom, I hate you. You're the worst. Right? So completely heartbreaking for any parent, and especially for a parent who had given up everything in her life just to be able to take care of her child. So she called me and asked me for some advice. Now, I am no parenting expert doling out free advice and tips over the internet, but I have read my fair share of parenting books, and I do parent from an attached perspective, and I do spend 24/7 with my kids. So I agreed to do a little research and gave her some advice. And so much of the tips that I gathered for her particular situation seemed to be relevant to all of us as homeschooling parents who spend every day with our children and sometimes have to face and sometimes have to hear these, not so pleasant remarks. So I hope you guys find this useful. And if you do, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. So what can you do when your child directs these comments towards you? The very first physical, visceral response after hearing your child direct these hateful comments towards you is most probably like a maddening rage. How dare he or she say this to me when I'm shedding my blood and sweat raising this child under these, difficult circumstances? And you may be tempted to say something like, well, you know what? I hate you too. I don't enjoy giving you a bath. I don't enjoy putting you to bed, but I'm doing it anyway. So you don't have a choice either. But is that a good idea to sort of battle with your child on the same wavelength? Probably not, right? The very first thing upon hearing these hurtful comments is not to take it personally. Well, this is the hardest piece of advice because everything your child does or says is intensely, intimately personal. But if we end up falling down at the very first blow, then we cannot tackle this beast. So the first thing is really, literally, I know it sounds like a cliche, is to take a deep breath and allow some space between, stimulus and reaction, between what your child has said and how you are feeling, the rage and the remarks. Now, as soon as you've given yourself some space of, I'm not going to take this personally, I am a good parent, my child is not a brat, we're just having a difficult moment. And then the next step is to allow your child to express his or her feelings. Now, as far as I've read, right, parents should be the safe harbor for kids to express their feelings too. All feelings are allowed, right? A child is allowed to feel rage, excitement, joy, envy, rage, jealousy. Anything is okay. Any feeling is allowed to be had, to be felt, right? But how we express those feelings is what requires conditioning, is what requires a little maturity. No feeling should be submerged or suppressed. And when your child is spewing venom at you by saying, I hate you, it is a sort of an outward manifestation of a feeling, right? A feeling of rage or hatred. All feelings are welcome, just the way they are expressed needs to be a little regulated. You're okay. You're allowed to feel angry. But saying, I hate you, mom, I hate you, dad, that's not okay. So the point to take away here is not that my child is not allowed to feel angry with me. No, it's okay. It's natural. But how can I teach my child to express that displeasure or that anger with a little more consideration? When your child is stating, I hate you or I dislike you, she doesn't dislike you as a person, as a mom that's kissing her goodnight and tucking her into bed. No, she probably is gaining a little bit of control when she says, I hate you, I dislike you, and she probably dislikes what you stand for, right? So it's probably parental authority. Most of the time, it's authority, it's the boundaries that you are setting. So, for example, mom won't buy me this expensive toy, so that intense displeasure and rejection expresses itself as I hate you, mom. Mom won't let me watch 4 hours of my favorite TV program, so I hate you, mom. Mom took away my gaming console and she says I'm gaming too much, so I hate you, mom. So you get my point. It's not that he or she hates you as a person. He or she hates the boundaries that you set, hates the authority. So he or she, your kid, basically gains a little bit of control by expressing his or her intense displeasure by I hate you, mom. Not exactly you, mom, but what you stand for, because you are standing in the way of them experiencing pleasure or control or agency in that situation. The second important point is that all outer behavior is a reflection of a person's inner state, right? So, bad behavior is the result of an unmet inner need. So, it's like for instance, like if you have a fever, right? If you have a fever, if you have like 104-degree fever, and if you keep taking Tylenol and Advil to suppress the fever, you never understand or tackle, what it is that a fever is a response to. It's probably an inner infection. But if you keep suppressing the symptoms, if you keep treating yourself symptomatically, you never treat the inner disease. So again, bad behavior, if you keep controlling it by punishments, by timeouts, and never really see what it is that is a symptom of, that the bad behavior is a symptom of, what is the unmet need that my child is expressing in the form of a bad behavior, you keep on treating the symptoms, but the inner disease just festers and festers. So again, third point, what could that unmet need be? Unmet needs are usually because of a lack of connection between parent and child. So is that web of connection between you and your child, is it tight, is it strong? This is a question that we have to keep asking ourselves, right? There is a truth behind these cliches. Connection is that foundation upon which parent-child relationships are based on. When that connection is torn, your child may lash out in the form of venomous comments, or you may overexert your authority in the form of strict rules, strict boundaries that can never be broken, and you sort of turned into this parental tyrant without actually seeing and meeting that unmet need, that lack that your child is trying to express. So how can you connect with your child? Well, with it's sort of this dance that's so unique between each parent and child. But in general, spending quality time with your child usually works, right? Just sort of understanding him or her without judgment, without fear is most important. So I think this is what it means to connect with your child. Being open to who this person is, giving him or her a little space without your own judgments and preconceived notions, priorities, your own fear of what you should be doing as a parent. Just honest connecting, paving the way between heart to heart. That's what connection means to me. One of my favorite authors, Gabermate, in his book Hold On to Your Kids, he says that children need that strong connection with their parents. And if we don't provide that connection, and if we don't hold on to our kids as parents, children will begin to seek that approval, that love elsewhere. Most of the time it is in the form of peer relationships. And those children are not as emotionally secure or as stable as children who have a solid attached relationship with their parents. So this is why connecting with your child should and must be a top priority. It's like taking your taking your supplements when you don't have a balanced diet. It is like exercising every day. It is like laying down the foundation, right? 15 minutes to connect with your child within the span of 24 hours is doable. Well, you may say, I don't have 15 minutes. I have this friend of mine who works all day, and her kids spend all day in daycare, and they're still well behaved. They still do their chores, they still do their studies, and their grades are up, and they have no tantrums. Well, be that as it may, to each his own, right? But this is the lot that's been given to you, and you have to do the best with what you have. But when there is connection, when there is a wealth of love and, self-giving underneath, your child will listen to you. Your child will respect your boundaries, will respect roles and authority. So if you're a parent who needs to have strong boundaries established, right? And your child has an equally strong personality and you guys clash. And if they are little children, perhaps you can play a role-playing game. When parenting is playful, when you have a lot of these role-playing games, sometimes children will let you in on their innermost, deepest feelings, on the places where they're hurt, on the places that need healing. So perhaps you can make up little games where you can be somebody else, where you can be the kid and he or she can be the parent. That way, maybe, they give you a clue on how they would like to be parented. And you don't probably have to take the whole advice, but you can at least catch a glimpse of what your child is feeling. So, as a homeschooling mom, I spend all day, every day with my son, right? So is it possible to lose connection with your child when you're spending all day, every day with him? Believe me, it is possible, because it is not the quantity or the physical presence that actually determines the connection. Sometimes I can get so overwhelmed with, my schedules, the stuff that I have lined up for today, the curriculum, my role as a homeschooling parent, that I can totally lose that connection with my child. I'm just talking to myself here at this point. I have to delineate a little bit of space every day to spend 15 minutes with my son, to speak with him and to listen beyond what I have going on in my head. Fill your child's emotional cup every day. It could be, just sharing a meal with your child, or reading a story to him before bedtime, or just having a heart-to-heart sometime during the day, where you're actually doing active listening and not listening to your child through the veil of, you as a parent, so-called how you've defined yourself as a parent. Okay, so before I end this video, I just wanted to let you know that kids saying mean things to parents I suppose it's natural. It's going to come to you one or the other time. And we would be lying to ourselves if we say that we never said anything mean to our parents. Or even if we didn't say anything mean, we would be lying if we said we didn't feel or want to express these mean things to our parents. But the first important step is not to take it personally. You are a good parent. Just keep saying it to yourself, right? You are a good parent. Your child is not a brat. The second important thing is that all feelings are welcome. Your child and you are allowed to feel any which way you can feel, but the way you express those feelings needs the regulation, and boundaries are important, right? You can empathize with your child, but creating boundaries is important. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, give me a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll be back with another video really soon. Bye-bye.